Welcome to the Contrarians, where we are right and you are wrong. I'm Julio.
And I'm Alex. Here on the show, we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine. For the first half of each episode, Contrarians Corner, we trash the fresh red tomatoes and praise the rotten green splotches, making our case any way we can.
The aptly titled Real Talk serves as the second half of each episode. This is where we discuss our true feelings on the movie we're covering. For more information on our podcast and to browse past episodes, you can head over to our website, wearethecontrarians.com.
From there, you can also access our Patreon and merchandise, because capitalism.
If you enjoy our attempts at comedic film discussions, we encourage you to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
If you'd like to reach out to us directly, that's what social media is for. You can find us on most platforms as @ContrarianPrime.
You can also see what we look like if you go to youtube.com/@ContrarianPrime, and you can contact us by email at wearethecontrarians@gmail.com.
I think that covers it.
Then it's time for the podcast. And we are recording for Contrarians Corner for 44-inch chest.
Hello, and welcome to the Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong. My name is Alex, joined as always by my cohort of the contrary, Julio Oliveira, here today to discuss the British black comedy drama of 2009, 44-inch chest, directed by Malcolm Venville and his directorial debut. Julio, if you couldn't tell by this movie, it was originally written as a play.
Really?
We'll get into that more in the second half. Ray Winstone returning? We have to have talked about Ray Winstone at some point. I mean, we talk about The Departed quite a bit.
Yeah, I know we've talked about him, but have we talked about him in the Contrarians sense of it? I don't know. I mean, forget The Departed. Beowulf. He's Beowulf.
Yeah, I was about to say, we drop Beowulf every once in a while. I forgot he was in Snow White and the Huntsman, movie that I am quite complimentary of.
Yeah, you're one of those rare champions of that movie.
I am the champion of that movie. Yeah, maybe it's sure as hell his leading man debut on Contrarians, in Contrarians canon, joined by a cast of familiar faces. Maybe not necessarily from our podcasting history, but you got Ian McShane, John Hurt, of course, Stephen Delaney, and Tom Wilkinson. Everyone knows Tom Wilkinson. That's
the one that I think has crossed over to Hollywood the most. Once you're in a Batman movie, that's it.
He was also in Shakespeare in Love.
Yes. Yeah. If you want to talk about things that we've covered.
Yeah.
The others, I don't know. Ian McShane. There's an After Hours where we talked about Scoop. And I know he's in Scoop.
Ugh. Ian McShane. Man, you want to talk about that guy. I always think of Hot Rod. You know, he plays Andy Samberg's stepdad in that movie. I'm sure he would be thrilled to know that that's what I think of when I think of his career.
You like give Scoop a ugh, and then you bring out Hot Rod.
Oh, that's right. He's also in Snow White and the Huntsman. So it's a reunion of sorts. No. Are they let me see here if I'm remembering correctly. The dwarves, yeah. The dwarves are comprised of Ian McShane, Bob Hoskins, Ray Winstone, Nick Frost, Toby Jones, Eddie Marsan, Johnny Harris, and Brian Gleason.
So at lunch, McShane and Winston are just sitting down, grumbling, going like, well, one day we'll make a real movie.
One day we'll bring the stage to the screen. But yes, 44-inch chest, much to discuss. I'm curious my co-host thoughts on this movie. So I think both the first and second half will be quite interesting. Julio, why are we discussing this movie?
Well, Jamie Russell, who is from the UK, so you know this is him sharing his culture with us. You know those movies, those stories where somebody like breaks bread and there's a symbolic slow motion, like here I'm giving you this, please eat it. And this is us. This episode is us taking a bite of that bread. And we're about. Thankfully, Jamie's been around for a while. He's been a patron for a while, so he knows that if we don't like the bread, we're gonna tell him. But not until the second half of the show. So in this case, it's 40% on the Tomatometer. So that means that we're going to be positive no matter what. I trust Jamie's taste. I mean, he is the man behind what's the movie that we did on Patreon that you love now about the punk rocker?
Dinner in America.
Yeah, he's the guy that gave us Dinner in America. So, I see a recommendation, a patron demand from Jamie. I'm like, this will be at the very least an interesting time, perhaps even a great time. And then I put the movie on and it's like, holy shit, the dark underbelly of England. I didn't know anything other than, as I said in the previous episode where we're teasing this, our friends from Filmbusters, also from the UK, had covered it. And they had, I listened to that episode not having seen the movie. So, of course, what I retained the most were their thoughts about life and not so much what the movie was about. So I was almost background blind going into this. How about you, Alex?
Yeah. Besides, like, I saw the poster and the cast. That was what I knew. I didn't know anything about the premise.
Does the title 44-inch chest give you anything? Like, I finished the movie and I'm still not sure what it means.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, like, if it's the actual chest that he shows at the end, or if Ray Winstone has a 44-inch chest. Is
that big? I grew up with the metric system, so inches, I don't understand them.
Oh, yeah, it'd be pretty big, yeah.
So it's possible that out of the 5 men in this movie, Ray Winstone would be the one with a 44-inch chest?
Probably, yeah. I'm trying to remember old Hulk Hogan, the WrestleMania 3, the tail of the tape. It was something ludicrous. Okay, go, yeah. Because, his thing was always a 24-inch arms is what the 24-inch Python's brother. His chest was 63 inches was the way they used to bill it. 44 inches would be pretty big. So, I don't know. This movie left me with several questions. And was it a human chest? Was it the chest where his wife's jewelry and panties were? I don't know.
So 44-inch, what? Across? Deep?
I guess. Or tall? Was it his new TV? I don't know.
I don't know. British listeners, let us know. Maybe it's slang, Alex.
It could. That's a good call. Like bangers and mash. Could be something that you could just say sausage and mashed potatoes. Oh, okay.
Like blood pudding. It's no real blood. Who would know? In America, you wouldn't know.
I've still never had it because I've heard it's a bit of an acquired taste. Blood pudding, that is.
Sounds gross. I know it's not real blood, but you already got it in my head. So unless it's delicious, I'm not going to try it.
Oh, man, I forgot bangers and mash comes with peas also. I would fuck some peas up, man. I love a good side of peas.
Trying to figure out if we're offending our UK listeners or amusing them.
Oh, they make fun of us plenty, so if they're offended, I doubt they're offended, but if they are, don't worry. They have plenty of American food they can make fun of. Specifically the portion sizes that we have. I can just imagine taking to some of our UK friends to a Sam's or a Costco and them just being like, why? What human needs this much peanut butter?
America, that's why.
Well, we don't need it. It's just there because if we want it because it's America. Well, now I want mashed potatoes and peas, but that'll have to wait.
For whatever reason, fuck knows why. You get off your fat ass, you find yourself under the sink with a spanner in your hand, and you're smiling like fuck. Because you know it's gonna please her.
All right, Julio. Not a particularly praised movie. From what I saw, it had a bit of a mixed reaction on Rotten Tomatoes. Is it a 41%? Is that accurate?
It's gone down 1 point since you checked. It's 40%.
Okay. Well, what are the critics saying now, then, forever about 44-inch chest?
All right, Rotten quotes from the Rotten Tomatoes website. I'm going to start with Simon Weaving from Screenwise, who says, a verbose exercise in profanity that wastes the talent of a bunch of fine actors who sit around and discuss how best to restore the bruised ego of one of their hardened gang. Is he using gang as in like, a group of men, or gang as in like, these are gangsters? Did you get the feeling that these guys are criminals?
Yes.
Well, I don't know, Alex. This could just be blue-collar London or wherever it is they are. They're rough and tumble guys. Doesn't mean that they're gangsters.
They talk about, like, killing other dudes and shit.
They talk about killing one dude in the movie.
It's Danny McBride's Ham's report. How many motherfuckers you killed? None. I killed 2. So shut up. I guess, but Ian McShane clearly has some ties to the gambling community. And man, John Hurt's just a miserable old bastard that just wants that dude to get killed so they can get it over with. Yes, I took it as these are definitely members of the same running crew.
Okay, so we're talking about like Donnie Brasco, Goodfellas, The Godfather, that scenario, but transplanted to.
Yeah, I don't know about the mob, but I mean, they're criminals. They're a crew very much in the same vein of, Guy Ritchie films.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I think of that, I think British gangster. So, all right, we're on the same page. Maybe Simon Weaving is on the same page as well. Next, John Hartle from the Seattle Times says, the frequently profane dialogue suggests David Mamet on an off night. So does Malcolm Benville's claustrophobia-inducing direction, though the first-rate cast works hard. David Mamet, Alex, we did a David Mamet as a QVR. You can check it on our YouTube page. We did, I think it was from Ben too, his favorite movie, Glengarry Glen Ross.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, not a lot of profanity there, but I would say this one kicks it up a notch when it comes to bad language. Or is it just that I'm a little sensitive because I'm not used to, like in England, they would listen to this. It's like, okay, it's profane, but it's not, it's not too much.
And the off chance that there's a female listening to this show, fair warning, or I guess I should say an American female, a non-European female, gratuitous use of the word cunt in this movie, which again, I've talked with Europeans about, and it's similar in Australia too. It's just like asshole or, jerk off or something, the way they use it. But here, man, it's about as intense as it gets.
Like Mamet would use fuck a lot. And here, British Mamet just uses the word cunt.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot.
A lot. So, ladies, you've been warned. It's not us. It's whatever his name is. Malcolm Benville's? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, actually, he didn't write it, right?
No, correct. This was written by Louis Mellis and David Cinto. Mellis wrote this over 10 years before it actually got made. The pair of them, Mellis and Cinto, wrote it in 1996. Again, more on that in the second half, but yes. At one point in the movie, they refer to a character they're trying to remember in conversation as the cunt with the ears.
So that should tell you everything.
Exactly.
We would say the fucker with the ears. Doesn't sound nearly as bad.
Douchebag is a big one that we use here.
Yeah. All right, next, Wesley Morris from the Boston Globe says, is this a documentary about a porn professional or a gym rat? Neither. It's a stagey, half entertaining, half tedious acting competition between 5 excellent Englishmen.
Tedious is an interesting word to describe it, but,
Yeah. Porn professional, I get that he's trying to be funny, but would you risk explaining the joke to me, Alex? 44-inch chest, because of boobs?
Yes. I mean, that would be a substantial rack. At one point, this Ian McShane declares that he has a 9.5-inch penis, which is a fucking achievement.
He doesn't even clarify if that's soft or erect.
Jesus, Jones.
Going off the rails pretty early on in this episode.
Yep.
All right. We're going to close with Kelly Vance from the East Bay Express, who says 94 minutes of stagey locker room philosophizing sets a record for use of the word cunt. There it is. Each of the characters exemplifies a different stereotype of male behavior, none of them very interesting. Do you think that's the case? Inside each of us lives one of these or all 4 of these people. This is like Inside Out, but...
That's an interesting read on it, the locker room culture thing. And yeah, this is not a dudes rock movie.
It's a dudes suck movie.
But I guess it is kind of a bit of an insight into just that. Dudes trying to help each other through a hard time, giving varying advice and recommending differing courses of action in the wake of breaking up with one's wife.
That is a very polite, very civilized way of putting it, Alex. What happens in this movie is it's a little more aggressive than that. But I think that's the perfect throw to Contrarians Corner.
What you staring at?
You're amongst friends here.
Don't make this more difficult than it already is. Hear me, Colin? Look at me.
I thought this was going to be a Reindeer Games deal where it starts with the ending, because you think we open here thinking that Ray Winstone is dead. Winstone, excuse me, as his house is trashed and he's laying lifeless on the floor.
There's a dog.
There is, and the dog's hiding. Unfortunately, that's all we see of the dog. Nothing bad happens to the doggy. Colin Diamond is a successful car salesman who, after discovering his wife Liz is having an affair, has an emotional breakdown. His friends convince him to kidnap his wife's lover and then encourage him to torture and kill him. So this starts with we are in the aftermath of this fight scene between Colin and his wife Liz, and then it's Wilkinson that comes over to the house, right, to try to talk to him.
Yeah, he's the first one we see. He's just with his mum. How do you say it in British? Mum?
I suppose.
He's cooking with his mum.
Okay, now you're being offensive.
I am not.
Mocking their dialect. Come on, man. But yeah, no, he lives with his...
Cut this, cut that. Oh, that's okay. But me trying to imitate a British accent, they can take it.
But yes, he does live with his mom and makes her some soup and then heads on over. And I mean, look, this movie's an hour and a half long, so we kind of jump from piece to piece. And to be frank, Julio, this is not a plot-heavy movie. So if it seems like we're kind of jumping around to talking points, that's kind of what the movie does too. This isn't
Reindeer Games.
Or Watchmen or something that we have to like painstakingly go through the premise of to make sure everything makes sense. What happens in this, Julio? Opening scene, something's wrong with Ray Winstone. We go to this like abandoned house with him and his crew. We learn that they kidnapped a dude. There's some flashbacks to what happened. And then basically the second half of the movie is Ray Winstone alone with the dude he kidnapped and like coming to terms with what happened and, trying to decide if he's going to kill him or not. Is that a pretty accurate summation of the film?
That's basically it. I mean, the genius of the movie is the exploration of what's going on inside him, right? And using his buddies as characters to bounce off. This movie could be just Ray Winstone by himself being tortured by the guilt of what he's done and the indecision of what he needs to do next. But thankfully we have this crew of characters that kind of help him figure it out, I guess. But it's a lot of inner conflict and not so much outer conflict. Basically the kidnapping of this waiter that his wife cheated with, it happens pretty quickly, like the first 5-10 minutes. And then it's just the guy's captive and there's a lot of conversations about what to do and some digressions. I don't have a problem with it being a play shot as a movie because, I like plays. And when you have actors of this caliber, when you have actors that are so good and you give them these really juicy monologues, I mean, that's just, how could you not enjoy it? I mean, unless the language turns you off. But I think that, I don't know, man, you see the poster, you see the names of the actors, you get through the first 5 minutes or so, you kind of know what you're getting into. Were you surprised by the dialogue, like how harsh it was? Or you're like, no, this makes perfect sense?
I expected, from the actors involved, some biting dialogue. Dude, the poster kind of promises a more action-packed film than we get. I'm just noticing, too, the poster has measurements on it, like inch measurements at the top. What is the chest? Maybe it is just Ray Winstone's chest. I don't know, man. But anyway.
I wish that there was the measurements of everybody then.
Yes.
John Hurt is like 10-inch chest.
This dialogue goes pretty deep at certain points. I mean, there's a whole like soliloquy of what love means to Colin and the sacrifices he made in his life over the last 20 years to make his wife happy. It's very dialogue heavy, but as are stage productions, you know what I mean? You don't go to the stage to see Avatar. You go there to see, performance and the spoken word. So at this point, though, in the movie, we're off to a hot start. We settle in to the dialogue-based performances here pretty quickly. But Julio, were you expecting the action to kind of turn up a bit here, probably until you get to about 30 minutes in the movie and figure out what kind of film it is. I thought we might be in for some kind of like mindless manhunt, but what we get is a far more eloquent, educated, intellectual film.
Yeah, the kidnapping happens. It's very easy.
Homeboy didn't put up much of a fight.
Yeah. And then Wilkinson is there just to calm the crowd. I was like, you guys keep eating your snails. It'll be okay. That's it. I guess that leads credence to the theory that they are criminals of some sort, right? Because they seem way too cool about this. If they were regular guys, there's no way they would be a little more jumpy about this kidnapping. But they're acting like professionals. So maybe you're right. Maybe they are elements of the underworld. I mean, there's a different read, Alex, and we can go into this a little bit later, but there's a different read that would say that they are not real. I made the Inside Out joke earlier, and I think that as you get deeper into the movie, especially the second half, you could just say maybe it's just Ray Winstone doing this, and he's having these conversations with, he's having a debate in his head, and this is the movie just visualizing it. So, but before we get into any of that, I think we should talk about the characters because, we get introduced to them and then they put them all in a room. Wilkinson, Batman Begins, the full Monty in the bedroom. I think he might have gotten a nomination for In the Bedroom. What's the movie where George Clooney plays a lawyer?
Michael Clayton,
and Wilkinson is great in Michael Clayton, but he is all over American movies. I don't think he's like, obviously he's European, but he almost feels like he's by now an American actor. Like we've adopted him, we've stolen him from Europe. The other three, not so much, and not because they're not well known. I mean, all kidding aside, Ian McShane, forget about The Huntsman and forget about Scoop. He was in Deadwood. Hot Rod. Forget about Hot Rod too, please. Did you ever watch Deadwood, or do you know at least about Deadwood?
I know of Deadwood, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's one of those HBO shows I'm like, someday I'll binge it. But he's one of the main guys there. It's him and Timothy Olyphant, and then, whole cast of HBO regulars. So McShane is kind of like a well-known figure.
Well, let me just run down the lineup for you, Julio. Diamond's partners in crime are suave homosexual gambler Meredith, that is Ian McShane, crotchety and bigoted old man Peanut, which is John Hurt, the down-to-earth Archie, who is Tom Wilkinson, and the combustible Mal, which is Stephen Delaney. They conspire to emotionally and mentally torture Liz's new boyfriend, Loverboy, a frog waiter, first by locking him in a cupboard and threatening him, and then by tying him up and subjecting him to verbal humiliation and physical assault. I don't know why, but I like the torture scene in Metal Gear Solid 3. I thought this dude was going to somehow end up without an eye, but was not to be.
One of his eyes is pretty red.
I mean, he got punched a lot in the face. That's what happens. So we went through McShane, we went through Wilkinson, John Hurt.
1984's John Hurt.
Recent visitor of the Contrarians.
Snowpiercer.
Oh, he was also in Kingdom of Crystal Skull with Ray Winstone.
You think Winston was assembling his team like the Avengers? All these Hollywood movies.
Absolutely. Snowpiercer, you're right. Melancholia. And I mean, if you're listening to this and you say, I don't know who John Hurt is, there's a very good chance. I mean, he was a fucking elephant, man. I would tell you you're
full of shit because you've definitely seen the clip from Alien where the alien bursts out of its chest.
What's the matter? The food ain't that bad, baby. You chill, what's wrong?
Yes. And I guarantee you've seen just in one of those montages shown about what movies can be and the importance of movies. You've seen, I'm a human being. So.
He's a little more eloquent in this movie.
It's true.
He goes on rants. Everybody goes on rants in this movie. All right, Stephen Delane, Alex.
Delane, thank you.
I mean, I'm assuming. I don't know. He's King Stannis for me and for anybody who watched Game of Thrones. So no to you. You're on the outside.
No, not. I am looking in.
He's a big character in that show. He's one of the. He wants to be king. He's not king. He proclaims himself king. I mean, that's the whole thing with Game of Thrones. It's like different factions.
Is he Simba?
No, he doesn't get a musical number. But minor spoiler for those of you who haven't made it to season 5 or 6 of Game of Thrones. At some point, he burns his own daughter at the stake as a sacrifice to the
Rock
gods.
and roll.
So, this dude, he knows what's up. When I saw that he seemed to be in charge of the torture in this movie, I'm like, all right, this waiter's gonna get fucked. And he kind of does. Already, I'm gonna proclaim Stephen Delane, what's his name? Mal. Yeah, Cal is Call is Colin. Yeah. I think Mal is my favorite out of the 4. I guess out of the 5, counting Winston. Do you have a favorite out of the gang?
I think Meredith is pretty funny. Ian McShane. John Hurt's just too much. He's too crotchety. And yes, bigoted would be the right word. He's very fucking homophobic and says in a movie that drops the word cunt every 3 or 4 words, he has the most problematic dialogue of the whole thing. But yeah, Meredith is funny because he's very cool and he's clearly just a fucking man whore. Like what I have in my notes, a real cocksman. I have that because there's that part where he just talks about he has like the 5 F's or whatever, but he fucks them and forgets them. So
is that like fuck them, finger them? No, finger them, fuck them.
Yeah, it's like a progression of what's going on, but
find him maybe.
We meet him and it's just like immediate man ass in the movie. It cuts to his fucking beautiful high rise apartment and he's got this like twink laying on his bed or his couch and he's just like he's fully dressed just observing this naked man. He's having a hell of a night. I don't mean to clump all these movies together, these British underground crime movies, but it's always about a whole like conglomeration, I mean, to be fair, most epic crime movies are going to be about like a group, but Guy Ritchie really changed, at least domestically for us, the perception of these types of movies, Julio, where you kind of need everyone involved to have a very pronounced personality.
But that's part of the magic of 44 Inch Chest, I guess. And when you look at it through those lenses, because the Guy Ritchie movie would be these guys going on a heist, having an adventure, right? This is what happens in the moments that we usually don't see in those genre movies, like in the in between that usually gets cut out. It's like, what are they talking about? What does it look like? One of them is heartbroken.
Yeah. So
it's kind of fascinating, even if you don't necessarily align with their beliefs, with their morals. You're still seeing people that feel realized as individuals going through it, especially Winstone. And I think there is just about enough depth with everybody else to buy them as potentially being real, or figments of his imagination. But I like that the movie gives them, everybody gets at least one big monologue where you're like, oh yeah, so that's what their life is like. Maybe not Delane, actually. I'm thinking maybe Mal doesn't get to tell a story, but Wilkinson tells a story when he's talking about being on the phone with Colin and the description of the dream that he had where he goes into a phone booth, but the phone booth is a vagina with teeth.
Very strange. And then a penis walks in.
Yes. Yeah. Then McShane gets the story about how he won a lot of money gambling. And then there's another story about him buying shoes, flirting with the shoe salesman. John Hurt gets a big monologue about Samson, the movie, and the biblical character.
Mm-hmm.
So they get, those little things, they tell you more about who they are and what they may be like outside of this room where they're torturing this guy. It's the other side. It's like what you would normally cut out of that Guy Ritchie movie or, whatever. Yeah,
the Samson and Delilah sequence of the movie. If I were to criticize this movie, I'd say you're so not confident in your own movie that you have to have a section where you just show scenes from another movie. But, they probably had the same studio who owned this movie at the time. So like, it'll work perfectly. Imagine that's where all the budget went.
Just the 5 seconds they show of Samson and Delilah. Probably 30 seconds.
Oh, dude, it's more than that. It's like several minutes of that movie they show.
I mean, maybe in any time that something made me pause and scratch my head in this movie, I would always have the out of, well, maybe it makes more sense in its country of origin.
There you go.
Right. So maybe Samson and Delilah holds special significance overseas and we just don't appreciate it. I mean, there's a bigger point to the speech, which is, this will happen because of a woman. But maybe there's extra resonance. Maybe the director is British. I don't know. The British listeners, once again, let us know. Is there anything else to Samson and Delilah? But based on what John Hurt says here, I mean, it does feel like the kind of story that a man like him would use to prove a point. Like somebody like us, like you and me, we would just laugh about it because you're like, okay, you're telling a story from the Bible, so you're already started from fiction. But John Hurt is talking about it like it's like something that happened historically. So, but I mean, Alex, how do you feel about spending 90 minutes with these ruffians that, unless I don't know you as well as I think I do, you have nothing in common with them?
No, not really. But I think that leads to an interesting talking point of this, of are they real?
Fair dues, a guy's hurting, but fuck me.
I know. It's mental.
Shit happens, deal with it.
How's your hand?
Throbbing like fuck.
What's the argument for them not being real?
So when these characters are around, it's typically always with Ray Winstone sitting in the middle of the room and they surround him. Call. And they all offer him like differing advice and differing approaches to, the situation or different responses. There's a part as we approach the third act of the movie where things start getting a bit odd, in which the characters will be speaking with different voices. Like it's one of the actors speaking for the other one, or they even like swap heads at one point. And then there's even a stranger sequence where it starts talking about these different scenarios where they're like interchangeable in it. And these all involve, his wife Liz, and well, what if this happened? What if this happened? How would this person play in? How would this play in? And then at the end, Julio, just getting to that, they either all leave together and do something else, or they just disappear and were never there in the first place. So therein sparks the discussion of, I love what's the Pixar movie you referenced?
Inside Out.
Inside Out. I wanted to say In and Out, but that's a different movie. I love that comparison, because you could say that these are all different parts of his conscience speaking to him and offering, it's the natural evolution of the devil and the angel on your shoulder giving you advice. Now there's 4 of them.
Is any of them even close to being an angel though? Because that is, I agree with your read, and it the more the movie went on, the more I became convinced that this was Ray Winstone having an argument, a 4-part argument, 5-part argument in his head. But I think it's pretty telling of who he is as a person, that the 4 people in his head are all kind of rotten. They have their own version of being, their own way of going about it. But all 4 of them are pretty nasty. Even Tom Wilkinson, who's kind of like the nice one.
Yes, but real quick, we do need to call out. The Colin character is a piece of shit. He beat the fuck out of his wife when he found out about, what happened, and kind of, in a sense, left her for dead. She got away, but, he didn't really track her down or anything. So he's not a good person. So it doesn't surprise me that there's no like noble individual on his shoulder. There's not like fucking Eddie Redmayne being like, just, let him go, mate. And we'll go have some tea and crumpets. What a fraud that guy is. Definitely the waiter is real. And I think that his horror and his confusion and like the dismay that he's constantly exhibiting comes from the fact that he's probably hearing Colin talk to numerous people in the room that aren't actually there.
Oh, I love that. I thought that it was just happening in his head and he was just staring blankly at a wall, but the idea that he's actually performing these conversations, which actually makes sense, because there's one scene where he leaves the room, he leaves the building. I think he says, I have to go find my wife. And he goes out and he runs outside, and he comes back in. And when he comes back in, he's talking to himself. Mm-hmm. So, that kind of supports the idea that he's having an episode.
Yes. And by the end of the movie, by the third act, he's completely like transporting to different places in his mind while these conversations are going on.
Yeah. That's when he starts creating a porno, casting his friends as the characters, right?
That, and then, yeah. And also I found this, And I feel very vindicated because one of the last discussions or places, quote unquote, he goes with our victim here before he lets him go is it's the vanity in their bedroom that they share. And that's where I thought the 44-inch chest came from, was where he shows his wife's panties. He shows them the marriage agreement that they had, the marriage license, and kind of goes through like her jewelry and shit. So from Eye for Film, a Q&A with Ray Winstone, John Hurt, and David Cinto. I'm sorry, David, fucking up your name here. He said 44-inch chest is a macho male measurement. It also relates to the love chest that has been invaded and to the wardrobe where Colin's wife's lover is kept. So I was kind of somewhere right. I didn't even think about the chest that they hid him in, or that he was like pinned up in. So learning things here in real time.
Okay, so it has multiple meanings.
Yes, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, Julio. I think this movie's open to multiple interpretations.
Like the best of them.
Like The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, yeah, the ending. It's like, is she still alive? Is she not? I guess we never find out. We just see her get on we didn't even see her get in the bus, the wife, right? We just see her, somebody comes out of the bus to maybe help her.
Theoretically, she's rescued.
Theoretically, but we don't even know if that's really happening. Is that just Ray Winstone hoping that that's what's happening because he's feeling guilty? I don't know, but did somebody ask that in the Q&A? Hopefully.
Dude, I guess good call. I guess we don't even know for sure that he beat her up. That could all be just hallucination as well.
Okay, well, that's a good tie-in to, because I wanted to go back to that. That happens, I noted it. It's 30 minutes into the movie. So before that reveal, that is pretty graphic, you actually... First, you get the description of him talking about how he beat her up. And then a little bit later, you actually see it in a flashback. I mean, it's just brutal and nasty. And definitely, I would like to think, if you had any sympathy for the Ray Winstone character, that's a revelation that probably strips most of it, maybe all of it. Mm-hmm. Was that your experience? Were you feeling bad for Ray Winstone until we got to that reveal? And then you were like, oh, fuck this guy. Or were you from the very beginning thinking, no, I don't buy it. This guy's not innocent. I don't care that he's crying.
I definitely turned on him when the reveal happened and we saw like him, assaulting his wife and stuff. Yeah,
but before that,
before that, I was just about to say before that, I don't know if I could tell you if I really felt any sympathy for him, or I couldn't get a read on the situation. He seemed definitely like he had a screw loose or two. So I was waiting for like the aha moment. And then, we finally got there.
Yeah, they made us wait 30 minutes and they're like, gotcha. But I wonder if that is a common response. If a lot of people are watching and they're like, oh man, yeah, I've been there. I feel it, man. And then they get the reveal that he's actually a wife-beating monster. And they go, oh, well, never mind. But then it's not like the movie gives you... Yeah, but see, it's not like a cheap twist, right? Can you imagine if the movie is still 90 minutes, but you don't find out that he was a terrible person until the very end?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's cheap because it's just like a gotcha, but then the movie's over. Whereas like here, 30 minutes in, they reveal that, and now you have to sit for another hour with that knowledge, and you still have to spend time with him. And can you find the empathy, the sympathy for him? Because it's still a man that is going through a lot of shit. And like you said, how much of it, he's such an unreliable narrator. So it's like, how much of it is really what happened? How much of it is him coloring it with his guilt? And how much of it is him coloring it with his hopes that maybe wasn't as bad? I mean, when he got to the end, Alex, do you think that he loved her? Or do you think this is a dude that's just angry about property being taken away from him?
Married by law before God. He's not getting around that, mate. We have to accept that.
So the way I read a lot of what he was saying was a guy trying to convince himself that he was, his big speech about love and stuff like that was, I think, him realizing a lot of his errors in real time and where he messed up. Because the opening, or when we see how Liz like breaks the news to him, she does it in a way that she feels she's just like, this has been dead for a while, and this is just kind of like the final nail in the coffin, so to speak. And I think he's full of remorse and regret, but I think it's also a fact of the bravado, and to exactly what you said, he feels like he got outsmarted or he doesn't get the last word. So therefore, he's really worked up about it, and there's a lot of situations that I think everyone can relate to that. The idea of getting like irked that you end up with egg on your face, but handling it the way that he does is probably not the best idea.
So you tell me you never gather a posse of your buddies to go seek revenge on the guy that cuckolded you?
No, because personally, I've never seen, unless it's like your bro or like a family member or something, I've never seen the merit and the idea of like my wife, my girlfriend, my partner, whomever, that I have a relationship with goes out and finds someone else that I don't even know. I've never found the idea in going and exacting like physical revenge on that person, because it's just like, dude, the person that was lying to you is right next to you. That's the person you should be mad at. So never had a posse situation either. And I have gone through situations where it's, someone close to you and, I was a lot younger and dumber, and, some of my friends were as well. And you just kind of, you talk it out, and, in the end, it may take a while, but cooler heads prevail and you live and learn from it. You don't put a plastic bag over their head and then make them think they're going to die. I just don't think there's much merit in that personally.
You gather the posse to drink. That's the American
absolutely.
way.
You send the group text out like, hey man, my heart's broken. Let's go get some drinks and stay up till 4 a.m. playing UFC 3 on PlayStation 3.
You text, hey guys, I'm wearing the cunt hat.
Yes. No, you just text the group, guys, it happened. I had the cunt dream. I need you.
The dialogue of this thing is amazing. And I'm not kidding, Alex. I have a full 2 pages like transcript of my favorite scene in the movie.
My God, let's hear it.
I'm not going to read it. For one, because anybody who hasn't been offended by now, and assuming they haven't watched the movie, that's the thing that would make them run away, because it's very explicit. But you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's when they finally go. Winston is sitting this one out. He's just sitting in the corner, but his 4 buddies just have at it, teasing the guy. He still has the bag in his head, I think. But they're just basically talking about how Stephen Delane is leading this. But they're like, so you met her, you fell in love, you wanted to marry her, you fuck her, and then they get really graphic in their theories of what they did to each other. This man and Ray Winstone's wife, and it's very fast paced, and they keep going. It's like a symphony. These 4 dudes just going in and out saying increasingly filthier stuff, and at some point. That was the first thing I wrote down, and I was like, I need to go back and write down the whole thing. At some point, John Hurt goes, use a banana?
Yes, I remember what you're talking about now.
It's like I think it's the first time that it gets kind of outrageous, but also the way that John Hurt speaks this entire movie, because he's wearing fake teeth, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's, no disrespect if those are his real teeth, but...
Oh, yeah, no, he's wearing dentures because they pop out at that one point, yeah.
Right, but it's not because he normally wears dentures, right? John Hurt, I don't know.
I don't know. You want to call him? I'll order a cameo.
I think he's passed away.
Well...
We missed our window, Alex.
We did.
As
oh, yeah, that's right. He passed away almost 10 years ago.
His tombstone says, use a banana. Actually, this is John Hurt, year of birth, year of death, and then under that, used a banana.
Then on the tombstone, it's got the little glass with the cleaning solvent in it that has his dentures soaking.
Use a banana. Blimey, O'Reilly.
The last thing I wrote, actually, there's 2, the 2 final moments is, again, John Hurt goes, that's his missus, you diddled, which made me laugh because diddle feels so tame compared to everything else they've been saying. Same thing as when they say bum, but maybe bum is like a little harder in England. But here, when you say bum is like, what a kid says when they don't want to say ass or butt.
I don't know if I've ever heard an English person say butt.
British listeners, once again, Let us know. Is that a thing? Or do you just say cigarette butts and that's it? That's the only context for butts? I don't know. And the last thing, this is actually, it's not funny. It's just fucking Stephen Delane coming in to just close the thing. He says,
I'm rolling up my sleeve. Say your fucking prayers.
it's like, oh shit, King Stan is about to fuck him up. That thing, that whole sequence, Alex, I'm like, take it out of the movie and just put it in the museum for preservation. Like, maybe not the National Registry is just for us, right? For America.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So the equivalent in England, and maybe something for, world cinema. Because I think that is just art by itself. And yes, not for everybody, but if you can handle the language, it's kind of amazing to watch. And it's just like maybe 5 minutes or something, but it's just like these four guys, it's like a ping pong, four-sided. They just keep, it's a hot potato. They just keep throwing the hot potato to each other, but every time that one gets a potato, they just say something filthy and then they throw the potato to someone else.
Yeah, very intentional dialogue for sure.
Yeah, which leads me to a bigger question, Alex, and just getting a little more serious. Do you think, because this feels so raw, so honest, so open about a man's feelings, maybe the answer to this, is this coming out of an actual experience? Because that's what I felt. And obviously you don't want to make assumptions, but it's almost impossible not to when you're watching this movie. It's like at least one of the writers, did they go through something similar? And I'm not saying did they kidnap a guy and almost killed him, but
the dialogue that they provide, for the monologue that Ray Winstone has towards the end, seems so intimately personal that I would almost have to assume that one of the writers went through something similar to have been able to verbalize those feelings.
When he's talking about the sink.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't be a great writer and just come up with that stuff, but it seemed very personal.
That guy's ex-wife watching the movie, looking nervously.
Oh yeah, he did fix the sink that one time.
I should give him a call.
That's me. That's how small you made me feel.
Well, the movie takes us on this roller coaster with the language and the implied violence and the actual violence. Mm-hmm. And then we get to the end, Alex, and Ray Winstone is resting his head on this dude's leg. And this guy that's been kidnapped and terrorized and hurt, he puts his hand on Ray Winstone's head and kind of tells him it's going to be okay. And there's a moment of forgiveness, which I felt like, okay, right, maybe I can't forgive him. I can't really get past my very rigid beliefs against people that would punch their wives. But the movie's not asking me to. Instead, the movie's just asking me to believe that this guy who had been part of this three-way relationship in a way, he can forgive Ray Winstone. Is that how you read it? That he's forgiven Ray Winstone and therefore telling us, the audience, that, it's okay?
I don't know about that. I think he just wants to get the fuck out of there.
Also valid. I guess a different way of coming at it. Is Ray Winstone a changed man at the end of the movie?
He might be. I think he's learned some things about himself and about the situation, because he seems glad that he didn't kill him, or he seems relieved that he didn't. But again, what of it was real, what wasn't? It's because at the end, he's just he's all put together again. He had several panic attacks throughout the movie, or one in the beginning and then one, about halfway through the movie. And he's just put back together, and his hair is looking really good and everything at the end when he walks out of the building. So it's almost like, what just happened in there? Did any of that happen? And then just hits the directed by credit and we're out.
Do you think that if the movie keeps going for 5 more minutes, we get to see Ray Winstone get picked up by the police? Because
they should have let the video just roll over, the credits roll over the video, and that's it's one of those panning shots that just keeps going farther and farther out, and just way in the distance you see him fighting off the police as they're trying to apprehend him.
Because she would press charges, right?
I would hope so,
unless the relationship is so toxic that she's trapped and she wouldn't press charges.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. Did you get the feeling that this had happened before? Is this the first time that he's been violent towards her, like in this way?
There is the one moment where after he hits her for the first time, there's a very brief shot of her that's just pure shock. So I don't know if it had ever happened before.
Okay, then maybe she's pressing charges, Alex.
I mean, again, I hope so.
I mean, there's a moment where he reveals that they have kids. That was one of the scariest parts for me, because I was like, there's the big reveal that he had punched her, and then there's a little bit later the reveal that they have kids. I was like, oh my god, this guy's somebody's father. Jesus,
Brother.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I guess when you think of this movie, I'm going to assume that most people think of the dialogue and that scene I was just quoting nonstop, but there's a little bit extra to it. I think that the storytelling, it's not just like five dudes talking. I think that there's a construction to the way that the story flows, even though there's not a whole lot of story. There's like those little reveals that keep changing the way that you look at the Ray Winstone character and at what he's done and what he might do. I don't think, and maybe this is where the 40% comes, Alex. I think that some people might watch this movie and think that the movie is asking them to forgive Ray Winstone, and they tell him like, yeah, he did some bad things, but he learned at the end, and so we should all be. He's off the hook, and I don't think the movie's saying that, but I can see how a lot of people could misread the ending. Exactly because it doesn't end with him getting any sort of comeuppance. Instead, it's just him having an epiphany of sorts, and then he just walks off. So that's how I read it. I don't think that the movie's telling me that he's off the hook. Do you feel like the movie's getting him off the hook?
No, I not really. I just feel like this movie kind of puts it on its audience to interpret what they want from it.
One more question before we go to real talk, Alex, because it's inescapable, as this is like so British, and our friends from Filmbusters, that's one of the things that I remember from their episode, them calling it a very British movie. Would you see it working in America? Like, can you make this movie? How much would you have to change it to make it believable in the United States?
Oh, I don't know, man. We mentioned Glenn Ross earlier. That movie was a hit. And it's, not the box office, but critically it was. And it's still to this day regarded or very highly revered even. And
I mean, no women get punched in that movie.
Well, heavy dialogue-based films, typically the American audience, especially nowadays, don't really have the truck for it. To make it you could keep all those dramatic elements in there of the adultery and the abuse and whatnot. You'd obviously have to change up some of the dialogue and some of the discussion points. And I don't think this movie is ever a movie that was meant to be, fucking Barbie or something in terms of like box office response. I don't think it's that British as opposed to some. It is in the sense of like exactly. The references and the dialogue went up, but the story is pretty universal. So you could just tailor the execution of it to be more what American audiences are used to, and it'll make $2 million at the box office, but it'll be something that a lot of film students declare to be the film of the year and whatnot. So it's not going to make money, but it'd be easy to, I think, translate it to an American audience, the audience that would go see it. So you just recast it. You have Pacino as Old Man Peanut, and Ryan Gosling as probably the Stephen Delane character. And I don't know, man. I don't know who the actors are we would use for that, because we don't have anyone that is as intimidating as Ray Winstone physically as the lead there.
We don't in America. Did we used to, and we just lost it?
We need to make it great again. I tell you what.
Yeah. Make America intimidating again.
That's why he's fucking Jack Nicholson's heavy in The Departed, because he's a fucking physically intimidating man. I don't know. It's Glenn Powell or fucking Jesse Plemons or something.
Oh man, I can see Plemons doing this. Plemons is Ray Winstone, and then you just need, but you have to get like the character actors for for the other four. And I guess Clemens is a character actor too, but yeah, I don't know. I'm of two minds. I think that you could make it. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely make it work in America. That's one of the good things about this movie, right? Like the idea of a relationship being betrayed by the person you're in a relationship with, and then what you do with that knowledge, with that impulse, and who do you hurt, and how do you atone for it, and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, that plays across the world. But then I think the image of an American going through that, just stereotype wise, is maybe it's just a little harder to buy, like an American dude having all this going on in his head. It would just be like some guy, he's like, he grabs a gun and then, kills the waiter.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
That'd be a much more American version. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, a lot to think about, and we're about to unpack it even more in real talk. I am ready, Alex.
Let's move it along.